Billy, what's going on? Controlling emotions today. I mean, this is like one of my favorite topics to talk about. Actually, behind me, I'll grab the book in just a minute. Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. It's a book by Daniel Goleman, but it's the thing most correlated to success, more so than IQ, more so than any standardized test. So excited to jump into emotional control today, man.
Yeah, for sure, Sam. Thanks for having me again. Looking forward to this too. The main reason I wanted to talk about, this topic, trying to control your emotions during performance. This is, it's currently the journey that I'm on myself. 2 or 3 years ago, I'd probably be the worst person you could ask to talk about trying to control their emotions. And today I'm still not the best person. To talk about this, but I'm trying to improve controlling my emotions. When I'm pitching, when I'm out on the field. I think a big thing for me was I used to compete with the mindset of, I want to be better than my opponent. I want to destroy my opponent. I want to do everything I can to just bury them.
Right.
And now I compete more with the mindset of I'm going to, give it my all. With my best focus, give it my all, obviously, 100% every time. And then I can compete knowing that, I gave it my best. I gave it everything I had, so I can be happy with the results, whether they are good or bad. Now, I still get pissed off. I still, drop F-bombs and do everything that you shouldn't, but I'm on a journey to try to control my emotions better through knowing that I put in the time and the effort and all the focus I could, to be proud of myself for what I've done.
And it's a journey that we're constantly on. We're constantly fighting. We're constantly figuring out how to control our emotions. But how do you define an emotion? So, an emotion is a matrix of sensations that we can attach a label to, right? But how do we define emotions? How would you define emotions in your own words?
I think an emotion is a feeling that comes from your heart. It's not really feelings that come from your brain. Our brain's worried about, getting food, the normal desires that we have. But our emotions more, I think, come from our heart and soul, and that's how I would define my emotions. I can tell when my emotions are getting ramped up because I feel it. I feel it in here rather than up here.
Yeah, certainly. I agree 100%, man. You got the head, you got the heart, and you got the gut. Emotions are 100% in the heart, which I agree. For those of you that have not dug into Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence, emotions come from 4 places. And a lot of people aren't even aware of this or don't even realize this or understand this. Emotions come from the pictures that we create in our mind, right? We create images of something that could potentially go wrong, something that could potentially go right? And we call that fear, we call that anxiety, or we call that whatever the image is that you see, right? So it comes from the pictures that we make in our mind. It comes from the inner dialogue, right? We all have the inner dialogue of do this, don't do that, right? But even more important than the inner dialogue, and I didn't understand this until this past year too, just like you, I'm on this journey of emotional control as well, is that the tone of our inner dialogue has such a greater impact than the words themselves. Try saying something pissed off. Try being pissed off in your own mind, saying it in a funny voice, right? Like, oh, why did I do that? All of a sudden it's like it completely changes the emotion immediately just by changing the tone. But if you say, oh, I'm so pissed off, it has a complete different meaning to it. So it comes from pictures, it comes from words, it comes from the tone of those words, and then obviously it comes from the feelings in our body. But as for athletes watching this, or parents watching this with their kids, those are the 4 areas to change if you want to have some emotional control.
Right. So looking at that inner dialogue, I think, is really important because what we tell ourselves is what we become. So, if you make an error in a game and you're thinking, or you say to yourself, damn, I suck, another error, I shouldn't even be playing third base, whatever, then your body's going to respond to, I do suck, maybe I shouldn't even be here. But if you make an error and respond with more of, I tried to make the play, I didn't, my teammates can pick me up, I'm so grateful that I'm playing the game. I'm so grateful to be on the field and not on the bench. Then our brains are going to respond a lot better to that than negative self-talk. You always want to try to have positive self-direction, and especially in baseball and sports, we also want to be present with the moment and think, that air is behind us. Now I can focus on the next pitch. The next ball could be hit to me right away after I make that air. So, and a lot of times it is, I'm sure you've seen that happen where a guy is in air, he puts his head down, where you strike out, you put your head down, you go out to the field. What happens? You get a ground ball hit at you and you boot it, and then you're doubly pissed off. So I think that putting the past behind us, also not thinking about the future, but focusing on that present moment, which is in baseball, which is always the next pitch, that can really help us hone in and control our emotions during the game.
Isn't it crazy how sports, it just has a funny way of working like that, right? It's like the person that just made a mistake or the person that just came in the game, the ball is a funny way of finding them.
When they just come in, yeah, that always happens. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's why it's always important to be ready to come off the bench. And when you do get in the game, just realize that the ball's probably going to get hit to you, and you're going to be expected to make a play.
Yeah. There's an interesting saying. It's reality is not a problem, but our reality is usually the problem, right? So isn't it? It's funny how you and I can see the same exact thing in two different ways, and it's the same thing with athletes controlling their emotions, right? And you go back to somebody making an error. Well, their teammate might see it in a sense of, okay, you just got to move on, you got to get past it, and look towards the next play. But the person that made that error might be thinking something completely different. Oh, I'm going to be benched. Oh, I'm not going to play next game. Coach is going to be pissed off. My teammates are going to be pissed off. And all of those emotions are terrible for performance. So it's about controlling our inner world, not the outer world.
Right, because you're obviously out there, you're giving it 100%. So as long as you're doing that, which I really hope you are if you're playing a sport, you're giving it your all with your focus and your effort 100%, then you really can't be mad at yourself for making a mistake because in this moment you did the best that you could. So it goes also along with enjoying the process of where you're at. If we never made mistakes, if we never had failures, then our triumphs and everything that we do that's well in life, would not be nearly as important to us or celebrated because we never have, the downs to compare that with. So we have to appreciate when we're down, when we make an error, and we also have to appreciate when we're up, when we make a good play, when we win a ball game, when we do something great. So enjoying the process is going to help us control our emotions by just knowing that you're out there giving 100%. So what more can your teammates or your parents or your coach really, or yourself, what can you expect yourself to do other than to give that maximum effort?
Yeah. So for parents watching this, what is a good place for us to start to give them some advice for helping their athletes control their emotions?
That's a great question. I think this is a tough one because were you going to say something?
Yeah. So, the majority of parents are on your Facebook. We appreciate you watching. So controlling your son or daughter's emotions, then here's something really, really interesting that I've come to discover this past year. So when someone's in an emotion, right, whether it's anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, and you're here, you're really optimistic and you're happy, and we're talking about the tone and the dialogue between the two, right? Someone that just made an error, just made a mistake, pissed off, angry, frustrated. Someone that's happy, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a coach. It's really difficult for the athlete to meet the coach at this happy point, at this optimistic point. So there has to be a sense of meeting the athlete where they are in the anger and the frustration, and then bringing them back down to that point of optimism or that point of positivity, that point of being able to compete. So I'll give you a perfect example, right? We go back to that athlete that just made an error. He just made a mistake, okay? He's pissed off, he's frustrated, he's angry, upset. The last thing he wants to hear is somebody that's really happy and really excited. The most effective way to deal with that guy that's pissed off is listen, I know you're pissed off. I know you're frustrated. I know you're angry. I know you're upset. that you made a mistake, and then you have to bring them back down to where they need to be, instead of just, fabricating and being false with this optimism that you think they're going to make this leap from being pissed off to happy right away, which it simply doesn't happen.
Yes. Yes. Spot on, dude. Exactly. Exactly right. So, as parents and coaches, we obviously want our kids, and our players to succeed, but they're not going to succeed all the time. So when they do experience, a setback, be it during a game or outside of the performance realm, whatever, I think it's important to let them feel that the emotion that they're currently experiencing. So you make an error, you're pissed off, the error let in a run. You're pissed off that you let your team down. All right, you come into the dugout after the inning, and as a coach, maybe let the athletes sit there for a little bit, let them feel that emotion. Think about, why am I angry? I'm angry because I let the team down. Totally normal. That's fine. That's totally fine. And then as the coach then come up to them, like you said, I know you're pissed off. You have every right to be. You're better than that. And I know you can play better than that. And I know you will be able to compete better than that. But you have to, put that air aside, forget about it. Live in this moment right now. What can you do to help the team right now? You got an at bat coming up. How can you help the team with your next at bat? So I think feeling the emotion, any negative emotion especially, can help us. We experience that, and then we can move past it to live in this present moment. But if we just disregard the emotion, like, I'm so pissed off, but I'm not. Trying to tell yourself you're not. It's just going to make your brain confused, and it's going to make you more pissed off. So feel the emotion, feel it out, and then move on from there.
So here's a big question, similar to what we're talking about. Do you think every athlete is different? I completely agree on this, but do you think it's good to use negative emotions as fuel, or do you think it's good to just try to move past them?
That's a good question, and I think it's different for everyone and for every sport. So if you're playing football, and you're pissed off about something, like at your friend or your girlfriend, whatever, and you take that on the field, you're a linebacker, and you're playing pissed off, and you're freaking crushing people and sacking the quarterback. Maybe that could be some fuel. Like that could be some tackling fuel, like in The Water Boy. That can be helpful. But for baseball, I find it very rare that a player is going to perform at peak performance by playing angry or playing upset, especially not playing sad. Baseball, we have to, since there's so much failure involved, we really have to just be with the present moment, and try to just have basically a neutral mindset of, I'm here for maximum focus, maximum effort, and that's all I can do really to help the team win. So it depends on the sport and the player. Some players I have heard, maybe pitchers can pitch angry, add maybe a few miles per hour velocity to get more drive, whatever. But, then they're more likely to let the ball up in the zone as well and get hit around. So for me, whenever I play angry, I know that I'm way worse than when I play more relaxed, calm, grateful to be on the field, grateful to be playing, this beautiful game.
But here I'm going to go even deeper on this now. Here's something really interesting, is that we might experience the same emotion, but our perception of it might be completely different. So the way we process it is going to be different for every single player, right? So yeah, every athlete is different in that aspect. But if I'm able to take that anger, that frustration, and perceive it a little bit differently than somebody else, and use that as energy, and use that as fuel, and use that as focus, then all of a sudden that's a really, really incredible thing to tap into. But if you don't know how to change that into channeling that energy and channeling that focus into what you're trying to do, then it becomes hurtful.
Wow, that's a really good point. I would agree.
Just think about all of the elite athletes, right? They all have great stories about, I don't want to say revenge, but times they were upset or frustrated. And what we're talking about really is motivation in terms of emotions now. You know, some people are motivated by those negative things. Some people are motivated by those I guess you could say negative outcomes or negative things that have happened, right? I think back to Michael Jordan, who was pissed off because Karl Malone won the MVP and he didn't, right? And then he used that as fuel to absolutely torch the Jazz, right?
Hmm.
Other athletes might sulk and let that beat themselves up. And if they try to use it as energy, if they try to use it as fuel, they just make themselves play worse. So it's an incredible thing to tap into if you can change that negativity into something that's channeled towards, you know, a positive aim or a positive outcome.
That's a good point. I think that we could use that motivation as focus fuel. So,
Ooh, focus
you know,
fuel. I love
if
that.
if you're
Yes.
upset, you know, or pissed off, like, you know, when somebody, like you said, when somebody talks shit to Kobe, you know, he made it like his personal goal to just torch that guy for the whole game, you know,
Yeah.
or the whole season. So I think it can be used like that motivation to enhance your focus. So
Yes.
why do I want to focus harder now? Because I want to prove to this guy who was talking shit, or I want to prove to myself that I can compete and, you know, perform better than I have been. So use it as focus fuel is, I think, is a beautiful way to put it there, Sam. Good
I
job.
love that, man. Focus fuel. Did you just come up with focus fuel?
Yeah, well, I think you said it or said something like it, you know, and it just took off from there. So we can expound on that a little more, you know, maybe in our in-person seminar that we're going to have in a few weeks, you know, maybe we can mention, you know, talk about something with the old focus fuel there.
Yes, of course. Tony, thanks for commenting. Keep up the positive gift to all of us.
Tony, love you, Tony.
Bill, I think my
I can still, you're still there for me.
yeah, okay, good.
So
Excellent,
for
man.
parents, I think to give them like you know, to be proactive in this, I think whatever your athlete or your child is experiencing, even if they're not an athlete, the main thing would be to let them experience that emotion, and then remind them, you know, to stay present and that, you know, to enjoy the journey. That there's going to be ups and downs, you know, ebbs and flows in life, and that's why we're here, and that's what makes life beautiful. So as a parent, let them feel that emotion for a little bit, and then remind them that, you know, you're down right now, but that means that you're just going to be that much higher, you know, for your next venture. So remind them life is a journey. It's kind of like going on a road trip. You know, you don't go on a road trip just to get where you're going. You do it to enjoy the process of traveling and getting there, and enjoying the experience with the people that you love.
Agreed, 100%, man, 100%. Anything else that you want to add for the listeners today?
I'd say just take small steps and try your best. You know, I really still suck at controlling my emotions during the game, but I've gotten better, which I can be happy with. So just, you know, next time you're competing, or next time you're doing anything, you get a bad grade, you know, instead of talking about it, you know, realize that it happened, feel the emotion, and then try to move on and realize, you know, to live in this present moment is, you know, the gift that we each have every single day.
Yeah, emotions are a complicated thing, but again, emotional intelligence, the most correlated thing to success in all fields. So definitely a valuable topic. Bill, always a pleasure jumping on, man.
Sure, I need to borrow that book.
Yes, I got it for you.
Thank you.
All right, my friend, everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. Tuesdays, 12:34, 1234 Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys.
All right. Have a good day.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please smash that subscribe button down below and leave your questions in the comment section, because that's the inspiration behind these videos to help serve you guys specifically with what you're struggling with. And if you'd like to take things a step further, check the links in the description below. If you're interested in our coaching, if you're interested in checking me out on other platforms and connecting with me there. If you're interested in some of our other free training, definitely check it out in the description below. And I will see you guys on the next video.